Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of RevTalks. I'm Patrick, joined today with John, who is the CEO over here at Gopher. How's it going today, John?
Going good, Patrick. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to jump on RevTalks. Give us a little high-level overview about Gopher, who you guys are, and what you guys do.
Okay, great. So Gopher is a on-demand marketplace for all services. So we're dual-sided. Obviously, we allow customers and businesses to tap into on-demand labor for a fair price. So that's in a nutshell what Gopher is. We offer everything from deliveries and any type of delivery, moving, junk removal, home services, yard projects. You can even find a ride on Gopher.
Absolutely, I like it. And so it's a housed marketplace, so an app where consumers or people can actually go on, see things in their local area in terms of needing help with removal, putting things up, groceries, and they go there. And then you guys obviously house the actual people that fulfill for that work, the workers, as well as the consumers that need that work done. You guys match them together and kind of bid.
Correct. A full connective marketplace.
I like that. And when did you guys actually start up? What kind of sparked this idea initially? It's very nice because it stimulates the economy. It's a double-edged sword, provides jobs and fulfills for consumers. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so interesting story, quite comical. So, for those golfers, will kind of enjoy this. We're out golfing, my co-founding partner and I, Tom, and we like to go out there and have a few cocktails and have some fun and golf. Well, when the cart person isn't available, that kind of throws a damper on the whole thing. And my buddy was like, "Wow, I would pay almost anything if we could get something delivered out here." And we're on the golf course, so that's just not a possibility. And he's like, "We can call it Gopher," and that brought me back to my days of working in the fitness industry in Hollywood. Lots of actors and whatnot would come to the health club. And I heard that word a lot, gophers, like that's what they were called. They actually were trying to graduate from being a gopher to get something more, mainstream and higher earning. But yeah, so the person that ran out and did anything was called the gopher. So the first thing I did is I ran to the Secretary of State thinking that that name was already going to be taken, and it wasn't. So this is the very first thing that we did with Gopher was by the name Gopher. And so registered the business there. And then this was in 2018, spent several months putting together a business plan, trying to look at what differentiators. We didn't really want to stay in one vertical, whether it be just delivery or anything like that. And but how could we be different? So we came up with things like, it's consumer-based pricing where the customer is leading with how much they want to pay a worker for whatever it is they need done, that kind of stuff. We wanted to be very worker-centric. I was very familiar with, different apps at the time and how they were paid. And it didn't seem very worker centric. And hindsight, it was not, and it still is not. And so I wanted a platform where workers could come on for free. They could see jobs with full transparency for free. They could accept those jobs. And when they did get those jobs, if they were going to make $100, that's $100 deposited in their account immediately afterwards. And so we wanted to have some strong value propositions there that benefited the consumers and the workers. Now, one interesting thing too is that we allowed people to title their own requests at first. We didn't have categories that we have today. It was a blessing and a curse. Lots of people, not really understanding what the title should have been, but nonetheless, it helped us with, that people in the community need certain things and aren't wanting to pay an arm and a leg. Like if you've got just a little bit of junk in your garage, let's ask a neighbor if they can remove it for $40 and take it to the dump. Whereas if you call us traditionally or you Google and look for junk removal, you might pay 175 before they even see anything. They've got to pay for that nice looking truck to go to the dump and all this and that. Whereas, Bill with his truck does not. So we started to learn about that. And then moving forward, we started to button up the user experience to where we would just let you easily go to where you want or order what you're looking for with some category help.
Amazing, amazing. So some super strong value propositions up front, paying customers on a fairly fast basis and consumers as well. And obviously giving those reviews too is very helpful as well. Can you kind of talk briefly about the customer base right now? Where are you guys kind of sitting at? What are you guys currently doing to acquire more customers? Just kind of touch briefly on that.
So we've had 130,000 people register on the platform, and that's about 35 and 70-ish for workers. So more customers, obviously, than workers. And it was about 50-50 up until most recently. So right now we are kind of taking a pause on any kind of aggressive marketing because we're about to implement two very unique and we like to think disruptive features as well. The first one is Gopher Connect, which is essentially a business component of the consumer app. So right now, customers like it is, for example, if they need a delivery, most people just say, "Hey, can you go pick up this product here and deliver it here? Point A to point B, very simple." A lot of businesses have been using the platform on the app, which quite honestly is not as conducive as if we had a web version for them. So that's part of the inspiration here. But they also have different needs. Like, I need you to pick up these multiple items at this warehouse and drop it off at point A, point B, point C. And so it's just little tweaks like that to help with businesses. Another one too is with day labor. There really are many platforms in which you can say, "Hey, I have a container coming in tomorrow at 7 a.m. I need 3 workers, $30 an hour for 4 hours." With a couple clicks of the button on Gopher Connect, we got you linked up with exactly what you need for tomorrow. So it's really just an extension on the platform conducive for businesses. Then the next real exciting one is the merchant integration where we're going to offer deals. We've got a lot of people on the platform now, and so let's give them some incentives to go on the app, even if they might not need something right now. So let's see what different restaurants have deals. Let's see what different local merchants have deals. Let's let some of our best workers who have done really fantastic work offer a deal to our user base for, a special or whatnot, where we can directly connect those two immediately. So that's kind of what we're working on now. Just like anything, you don't want to throw money away. And so we'd like to have that as part of our portfolio and then circle back and get onto, a nice advertising campaign where we can have a broader reach.
Definitely, that makes sense. And so you guys are looking at different verticals and implementation that this can actually go into. And as of right now, are you guys kind of having some sort of a mid-ticket or higher ticket offer for the actual app itself, or some sort of integration? Or are you guys mainly just kind of predominantly focused on servicing the mass market segment and then providing jobs and obviously having the fulfillment there too?
Yeah, so we'll stay on a general high level. I'd like it to be a marketplace where, pretty much anybody can go on there for any need. If we find ourselves being extremely productive in one particular vertical and it makes sense, and it doesn't change the overall mission, vision, values, then, we would certainly entertain that. It seems like every 15,000 users, something presents itself that's a great opportunity for everybody in the marketplace. And so we dive right in. Obviously, if it's cost effective, Gopher Connect is a perfect example. When so many businesses started using it, I was thinking to myself, like, there's just no way that this is an accommodating platform to be. Let's just say that you work on a computer and then you go, "Oh, wait, let me use Gopher for something. Let me get out my phone." So to have it just a seamless integration and a site that's available. Now it'll have an app version as well. And so will actually Gopher will be available on the web eventually here too. But yeah, that's just kind of how things transpire on the app is when so many people are using it for so many different things. We just want to make sure that the technology seems virtually invisible, right? Like, that's the last thing you're focused on. The number one thing you're focused on is, I have a need. Can you connect me to it? And have the experience be just very, very seamless.
Definitely, definitely. That makes sense. And when it comes down to growing Gopher, obviously you guys are trying to do that in an aggressive way, like most softwares. You're trying to, grow in a way that's not necessarily harsh to the marketplace, but obviously it's fitting and then obviously rapidly growing and everything. What are some challenges when it comes down to really taking this thing to the scale you really want to take it to?
Yeah, great question. And so I've coming from a completely different industry where there are some similarities, but there are more differences. I've had to get my degree from Firehose University. So let me just tell you how I think the biggest challenge was obviously finding a balance with the matchmaking. Do you have too many customers? The customer wants something, you don't have a worker, they're gone. You get workers on there with a strong enough value proposition, there's a little more patience there, right? Like, Calvary's on the way, communicate. The onboarding needs to be very precise in that you have to set an expectation. Like, we don't have a ton of jobs just yet, but when we do, here's how it'll look. And so that's kind of where we've leaned into over the years, is make sure that we start with the worker, set a good expectation there. The value proposition speaks for itself. And then as we introduce customers to the platform, then now work gets fulfilled faster. Now, fortunately, through all those trials and errors and lots of, bootstrapping, we have now multiple markets in which when we decide that we'd like to go into that market and provide Gopher as a service, we're starting with 2,000, 3,000 workers, making it much easier. And so now I don't want to say it's going to get easy because it's definitely not, but it will definitely be a different level of challenges when you at least can start with a good workforce.
Absolutely. That makes total sense. And especially when it comes down to and customer satisfaction, that's obviously huge in the marketplace right now. So making sure that customers are getting good results. I know you mentioned too before, you guys have that expectational, role that's kind of put in front of them initially when they sign on. Hey, we don't have a lot of jobs yet. It's obviously good to preface kind of what's going on in the current software in which you guys are currently facing. But when it comes down to really good customer results and really good customer success, what are some ways that you're currently going about ensuring every single customer gets world-class experience? I always try to compare things to, I don't know if anybody talks a lot to the, American Express, like customer support team. They're
Well,
always very the same, very, very professional. They're never, upset or anything like that. And you just know what you're getting yourself into whenever you call. And so we try to replicate that process into Inbox Rev whenever we do certain things for customers in any respect. How are you guys over at Gopher pretty much ensuring that every single customer gets a plug and play, really good 10 out of 10 experience and they're satisfied at the end of the day?
yeah, so I'll take responsibility whether this is a good or a bad practice because I've owned this. I feel like in my former life, I have had some really, really good examples of executives that value customer service in a genuine way. I've adopted that. I have been um, a testimony to what customers how customers respond. We used to call them taking moments of misery and turning them into moments of magic because that is nothing could be more true. As I had a bad experience, you made it better, and now that's a customer for life. So I feel like one thing that's extremely important is especially with a unique platform where you're trying to create a space instead of follow one, is that you have to have a very good expectation and good onboarding. Like, here's how you heard about this company. Now you interact with this company. Is there anything lost in translation? Hopefully there's not, because there shouldn't be. And then when they use the product, is it easy? Did they get what they wanted to? And then when they finished, did they have a way to tell that to you so that you can learn, validate, and continue and replicate? Or was it not exactly what you had hoped for? So then you immediately put something in play so that moving forward, another customer or a new customer doesn't experience that. I've done that I've spoken to so many thousands of users on the platform, and I get all of their frustrations and I appreciate all of their positive experiences. Of course, it's very difficult when somebody looks online and they find Gopher and we're not really there yet, but somehow Google likes us more than we had thought, which is, I guess, it's a good thing, problem to have. But in some cases, it's really not, because the customer is now thinking, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And they go to make a request and we don't have a worker available. So then now how do you go about trying to reconcile that issue? Because I have a need right now as a customer, and yet I don't personally as Gopher have a way to connect you yet. So that has been something that, we're trying to do. I'm trying to let you know whether we have a worker base or not prior to you having to engage, so you don't feel like you've wasted your time. We've also implemented things in which it's not necessarily like in the customer satisfaction or the customer um, appreciation category, but we have created a unique enhancement in the app for workers so that workers, like if you are a worker and you go to your refer app, you'll have a QR code. If I scan that QR code, I can actually add you as a favorite Gopher. So if people are out there looking for work, they can put their Gopher QR code in a Nextdoor site or in a Facebook group or anywhere that they want to, Reddit, you name it, and say, hey, I'm looking for work. Here's kind of what I specialize in. If you'd like to go to a trusted platform to hire me, you can hire me directly. Just scan this code. So on the flip side, whereas like somebody's looking for a unique delivery and we don't have workers there, If they use any other type of delivery service, and let's be honest, most gig workers work on multiple platforms. Money is money, right? And so as anybody's good to them, they stay with that. Well, if they've done any type of food or grocery delivery, letting that person know is, hey, I have some other delivery needs. If you scan this QR code, I'll be your first customer. And so I can hire you directly. So just giving people across the country ways in which they can immediately embrace Gopher, and it doesn't cost anything. Obviously, I benefit as the company from reduced marketing spend, but it also provides jobs instantaneously and it fills gaps which exist all over the place as well. So that's another thing too that I've learned from customers that have told us, hey, if you did this enhancement, this is what, how it can benefit me personally. It's how it can benefit the worker and then you as the company. So I guess in short, and to put a bow on this thing, every time a customer gives us a good idea, we want to prove to them that we're listening and that we can implement quick.
Definitely. That makes sense. Definitely valuing whatever single customer says and adding in those implementations. I think that's really huge. And at the end of the day, obviously having support tickets is one thing and putting in, those into files is another thing too. But it's really, yeah, really listening to your customers, and obviously the best, softwares get around word of mouth. Everybody kind of already knows that as well. And so with that being said, you guys are obviously looking to, keep marketing spend lower. I know you mentioned that too. When it comes down to content, branding, being on Google, where do you find most of your customers actually find you? I know you mentioned a lot of it is obviously organic. What are
Yeah.
those kind of organic methods? And kind of touch briefly on that.
Yeah. So well, let's segment into the organic. We haven't done anything, quite honestly, other than making sure that our website's SEO and snippets are relevant to what you're looking for. But yeah, with 30,000 people in a given area where we have strategically marketed, but yet netting out to 130, there's a lot of pull there, right? So there are definite needs that we need to address. Unfortunately, with having large, dense worker pockets, we know how to go there. And then we're assuming that because Raleigh is let's consider it sort of a metro, but, having lived in some of the major metros, it's really not. So if you can get this type of pull from Raleigh, North Carolina, what kind of pull would you get in Los Angeles, in Atlanta, in New York, and so on and so forth? So, and then also being able to responsibly help with the suburbans that are around there. But as far as like how we want to go about strategically marketing to these folks is just try to have all of the components out there that reach a general audience first with all of your social media targeting, probably not as much early stage, outdoor marketing or any type of physical ads or anything like that, but learning from the customers as well. So as the platform evolves, as the UX becomes more user friendly and attractive with enticing deals and other things that the merchants in the community are offering, we can learn from customers what they like and what they don't like, not without having to know any of your personal information. It's all behavioral, right? So you're looking at different deliveries all the time and a couple of yard projects and this and that. And so if we have within our own internal system of sharing information, marketing, advertising, whatever you want to call. Did you know that Gopher also helps people with this? And then providing real-time examples of how easy it is to put a request out for some yard work or for some home services or something that you need by having a roof over your head, but you just hadn't necessarily heard about prior to coming in for, say, delivery. So giving you the general idea. And with everything with Gopher, it's risk-free. If we can't connect you, you're not going to pay a dime. But the process is super easy. And you see it all the time on other platforms like Nextdoor specifically. Hey, does anybody recommend this? Or hey, I'm looking for this, or hey, I'm looking for that. So it's we provide you with the same thing. You would post that same way, but every bid you get is going to be in one easy to view place. You can immediately look at ratings, reviews, job history from the worker, compare that with price, and then have full assurance and confidence with the selection that you make versus having to go and make tons of calls or getting tons of calls. God forbid, some people put their phone number on there, which I would never recommend putting your phone number on social media because you're just going to get blasted. But no messages, no haggling or anything like that. So we just kind of make the process super simple.
Sweet. I like it. Very streamlined. I've had some bad experiences putting my phone number back in the day on Google or my website and getting spam calls and everything. It's a whole, fastoosh. Moving forward, obviously, as we move past Q2, Q3, and Q4 on to 2026, 2027, what are some goals for Gopher? What are you guys kind of looking ahead? What are some things you guys are looking at implementing? Where are you guys kind of looking at taking this exact software?
So in 26, the goal is simple. Get everything on the technology side of the platform buttoned up. We've had a series of development projects in the past in which we have moved away from. And so maybe or left a couple bugs or a couple unfinished enhancements, that type of stuff. So we'll call that the bug fixes and polish. Let's get that totally off the table in 26. Also, let's get Gopher Connect fully implemented and available. And then the process, I can't say we're going to complete this with the local merchant integration on there, but that would be something that we would be focused on exclusively at the end of 26, moving into 27. And frankly, I'd like to be able to say, that when a customer needs to go and find something in the way of a service, that Gopher is going to be one of their first choices. I'm very confident I can get people to say that in Raleigh, North Carolina, but that's not a scaled conquest there. And so I'd like to make sure that we then strategically move into new markets using the same tried and proven way, but hopefully maybe a little bit easier having a workforce somewhat already established there versus starting from scratch.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to jump on RevTalks, John. I know the audience learned a decent amount about what you guys do and who you guys are. Go ahead and just kind of give us the company website again. And obviously, where can we find you on socials and things like that?
Yeah, it's Gopher, go.io, Gopher.io. And the app is available on the Play Store and App Store. Gopher Request is a customer app. Gopher Go is the worker app.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you again, John, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Well, Patrick, enjoyed it. Thanks, sir.